I am going to be telling you today another one of these dreams where all of a sudden I saw blood. Stay tuned. Well, this will be the last of the dream series, but if this is the first time you are ever seeing me on a video or on my YouTube channel, hi, I'm Susan of Susan's Little Cup of Magic. And here I talk about psychic abilities, intuition development, channeling and downloading, all of the things that are rich and fun, neurodiversity, entrepreneurship. I am a coach and a healer who supports all of this in your business. So let's get down to the story, shall we? Now let's get cozy. If you don't already, grab a cup of tea, coffee, get into a nice little snuggly chair, and let's go. So this dream was around 1989, probably closer to 1990. I had a driver's license and I was a junior in high school. So every morning I would pick up my girlfriend. I would stop by her house. We would put more makeup on and chit chat and then jump in the car and go to school. The night before, I had this dream. And the dream, I have no idea what I was dreaming that night as they go, but all of a sudden, boom, just like they usually do, I'm walking down a darkish hall on a top level because I could see some stairs and I could see a railing. I'm walking down through the corridor or the hall to a door. I'm going through the door with the light turned on and I'm looking at a sink. Now, for those of you who aren't from the US, this sink is like a porcelain sink that's built into the wall. It's kind of like a standard. And in front of the sink, there are two silver rod legs that go down to support it. Most of the support is happening in the wall. This was in most houses. I see this sink and I'm walking towards the sink. And it's like from my point of view, so I don't see anybody else. The bathroom is a little dark and dingy, but the sink was the focus. And I'm looking down into the sink. And as I looked at the drain, I started to see blood. So I know right away, the horror film of where the blood just starts coming up out of the sink. It wasn't quite that. There was like drips coming from someplace, but I was really focused on the drain and the stark contrast of the white porcelain sink with red drops of blood. And it was a lot of blood. So it wasn't like drip. It started out with drips, but then it started to stream. It was vivid, to say the least. The next morning, I go to pick up my friend. Park in the driveway. I would walk upstairs. I usually go right to her bedroom. And I sat down and she was in the middle of putting her makeup on and I had to tell somebody. So I said to her, I had this crazy dream last night. And she stopped and looked at me and I said, well, it was not my typical dreams. All of a sudden, I was dreaming about blood in a sink. Let me tell you how it went down. I'm looking into the sink and I'm watching blood come into the sink from a higher spot, but I didn't know where. And then I described the sink for her. And she kind of paused and looked at me and she said, did it look like the one in the bathroom up here? And I was like, I don't know. I've never really gone to that bathroom. Okay, so then she takes me through the hallway and I start looking around. It seemed kind of familiar. And then she opens the door to the bathroom I've never been in. And she said, did it look like this? Yep. But I've never really been in that room for all the times I've ever been at her house. I know that's weird, but there was never a reason. There was a bathroom downstairs I used more often. And so then we go back into a room and she said, I had a horrible bloody nose last night. And I spent most of my time over this sink. What happened here? I'm still actually kind of thinking about it. I started this series because a couple months ago, my daughter and I were watching a series together. And she was asking questions, and I happened to have some of the answers to those questions based on life experience. And that is why I started telling these stories. She reminded me of something when I told her this story. So my first guess was I had a premonition dream of my friend. So one of those precognitive dreams. But she, my daughter, actually pointed out, well, Mom, didn't you astral project? As we talked about back when I went to Paris without a plane ticket, I believe I have this ability on a natural level of astral projection. I don't know how often I do it. And if you go back to that video, you'll see I've tried to learn how to do it. And then I kind of stopped trying because it wasn't really working the way that everybody else talks about it. And I also have some thoughts about it. And those thoughts go a little like this. Are we meant to be doing this? Well, I have another friend who collaborated on this YouTube channel. I'm going to link her here in the show notes about some of her thoughts on astral projection. I am not somebody who knows all things about this stuff. I'm just somebody who experiences them. And I am always open for more knowledge on this because I do find this world fascinating, and it's one of our untapped resources, in my humble opinion. Regardless of the ethics on this, I don't know what kind of dream that was. Was it precognitive? Well, it happened at the same time I was having my dream. It was happening in the middle of the night. So was my dream. So I'm tending to lean more towards astral projection. Some aspects of the dream was interesting. It's not like I was standing next to my friend. It was as if I was her. And that's the part that's a little interesting to me. Now, that might be a part of my abilities. I don't know. I've never really done that again. It made me think of the last dream from last week where my friend got a haircut. However, I wasn't in the chair with her or as her. I just had the dream that she got her haircut. So to me, that one was more of a precognitive dream, something I was going to see in the future. This was an experience I was having with my friend, sort of as my friend. It's an interesting one. And so I open it up to you, my audience, who's been watching these dream series videos. What do you think was this dream? Was it astral projection? Was it channeling in a strange way? I don't know. Embodiment? I don't know if that's even a thing while you're dreaming. I know that this space is, like I said, an untapped resource, and there's a lot of possibility here. But I don't think it falls into precognition because it happened at the same time I was having my dream. Well, this ends the dream series. It doesn't end the weekly woo-woo stories of our fascinating abilities. I have moved over to Substack. I'd love for you to join me there, where I will be publishing every week as well, and give you a little more of my cup of magic. Drop down in the comments below and let me know, what kind of dream do you think this was? Have you ever experienced something through the eyes of your friend during a dream or in real time? I don't know. How does this thing work? And let's connect. I'm building this community of woo-woo weirdos, psychics, intuitives, neurodivergent, misfits, whatever you call yourself. You are welcome here, and let's have a cup of magic together.